Okay, I'm going to be straight with you right from the start. And honestly, after 30 years of practicing medicine, being straight with my patients is the only way I know how to do things. Yes, Salma Hayek is gorgeous at 56. Yes, she has access to resources most of us simply don't. Private chefs, personal trainers, world-class cosmetic dermatologists, and a billionaire husband who can fund pretty much any wellness routine on the planet. I'm not going to stand here and pretend that doesn't matter because it does. But here's what I've learned after 3 decades of working with women, real women, women with jobs and kids and mortgages and stress and not enough hours in the day. There are specific habits backed by actual science that make a measurable difference in how you age, and most of them don't cost a thing. So today, I'm not selling you a fantasy. I'm giving you the parts that actually work. The parts that any woman, regardless of her zip code or her bank account, can start using this week. Let's get into it. I want to start with something that genuinely surprises most of my patients when I bring it up in the office. They come in expecting me to talk about creams or supplements or the latest procedure, and instead I start asking them what they had for breakfast. Because after 30 years, I am absolutely convinced that what you put in your body every single morning sets the tone for everything. Your hormones, your skin, your energy, your inflammatory markers, all of it. Salma has talked publicly about her approach to food, and I find it genuinely interesting because it aligns with a lot of what the research supports. She doesn't follow a rigid diet. She said herself she's not good at dieting, and honestly, neither are most people. That kind of all or nothing thinking is one of the biggest traps I see women fall into. They go hard for 2 weeks, feel deprived, fall off, and feel worse about themselves than when they started. That cycle does more damage than just eating imperfectly every day. Her actual approach is pretty simple. She dramatically reduces how much animal protein she eats. Some days she has none at all. She'll go several days without meat and then go back to it. No guilt, no rigid rules. Just an overall shift toward plant-heavy eating. And the research on this is really solid. Populations that eat less red meat and more plant-based foods consistently show lower rates of inflammation, better cardiovascular outcomes, and yes, better skin health as they age. Her breakfast is something I think is worth paying attention to. She takes papaya, blueberries, mango, strawberries, pomegranate seeds, and then she adds celery, red pepper, and cucumber to it. Now I know that sounds like it shouldn't work together, but she swears it's delicious. And nutritionally speaking, it's a powerhouse. You're getting antioxidants, vitamin C, fiber, and anti-inflammatory compounds all in one bowl before 9 a.m. She tops it with almond butter, coconut butter, and yogurt for protein and healthy fat. That combination keeps blood sugar stable, which is something I talk about constantly with my patients because blood sugar spikes accelerate a process called glycation. Basically, sugar molecules attaching to collagen and breaking it down. If you want to protect your skin as you age, keeping your blood sugar steady is one of the most important things you can do, and it's completely free. Now, Salma grew up eating Lebanese food, tahini, legumes, olive oil, fresh herbs. And this is something I genuinely envy, because the Mediterranean adjacent diet is one of the most studied diets on the planet when it comes to longevity and skin health. Tahini, which is just ground sesame seeds, has been shown to help lower cholesterol, reduce certain cancer risks, strengthen bone density, and help with inflammation in the joints. Legumes, chickpeas, lentils, black beans, give you low-fat protein, complex carbohydrates, vitamins, minerals, and fiber. And olive oil, you all know I talk about olive oil constantly. Substituting olive oil for saturated fats reduces your risk of heart disease, high blood pressure, and stroke. But it also nourishes your skin from the inside out. The oleic acid in olive oil helps maintain the lipid barrier of your skin, which is what keeps it looking plump and hydrated. You don't have to have grown up in Lebanon to eat this way. A can of chickpeas is under $1 at any grocery store. A bottle of good olive oil runs you maybe $10 and lasts weeks. This is accessible to everybody. Now let me tell you about the one habit of Salma's that I think is genuinely underrated and that most people blow past because it sounds too simple. Chicken soup. I know. You're thinking, really, Dr. Kingsley? Chicken soup? Yes. Hear me out. When Salma is traveling for work, and she travels constantly all over the world, dealing with time zone changes, press schedules, long flights, artificial air, all the things that absolutely destroy your skin, she famously orders chicken soup from room service. Not a fancy spa treatment, not an expensive serum. Chicken soup, and there is real science behind this. Chicken soup made properly from bones is rich in collagen and hyaluronic acid. Collagen is the structural protein that gives your skin its firmness and elasticity. Starting in your mid-30s, your body produces less and less of it every year. By the time most of my patients are in their 50s and 60s, collagen loss is one of the primary drivers of the changes they're seeing in the mirror. The lines, the sagging, the loss of that plumpness they had when they were younger. Consuming collagen-rich foods like bone broth and chicken soup supports your body's ability to synthesize its own collagen. It's not magic, but it's real. The gelatin in chicken soup also helps heal the gut lining, and this matters more than people realize for skin health. Your gut and your skin are in constant communication. When your gut is inflamed or leaky, it shows up on your face. I've seen this pattern over and over in my practice. Patients come in with stubborn skin issues, redness, dullness, breakouts even in their 50s. And when we address what's happening in the gut, the skin follows. A good pot of homemade chicken soup costs maybe $8 to $10 and makes enough for the whole week. This is not a luxury habit. This is a grandma habit, and grandma was right. The juice cleanse piece of Salma's routine is where things get a little more nuanced, so let me walk you through it carefully. She founded a company called Cooler Cleanse. Yes, that is a real business, and yes, it costs money. I'm not recommending you go sign up for a subscription juice service, but the reason she does cleanses and what she says about why she does them is worth understanding. She's been very open about the fact that she's an emotional eater. When she's stressed, she reaches for food. Sound familiar? Almost every woman I've ever treated has said some version of this to me. The cleanse for her is less about weight loss and more about breaking that cycle. Hitting a reset button, getting out of the stress eating loop, and reconnecting with how her body actually feels when it's nourished properly. That concept, the reset, doesn't require an expensive delivery service. What it does require is intention. Her actual juice recipe is something any of you can make at home. She starts with peeled oranges, a fantastic source of vitamin C, which is essential not just for immunity, but for collagen synthesis. Your body cannot make collagen without vitamin C. Full stop. Then she adds turmeric. And I cannot overstate how much research there is now on turmeric and inflammation. The active compound curcumin has been studied extensively for its anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. It's been used in traditional medicine for centuries, and modern research is consistently backing that up. But the ingredient she talks about that most people haven't heard of is sea buckthorn. This is a small orange berry that grows in the Himalayas and parts of Central Asia, and it is one of the most nutrient-dense foods I've come across in all my years of practice. It's one of the richest natural sources of omega-7 fatty acids, a type of fat that is extraordinarily beneficial for the mucous membranes, which includes your skin. Omega-7 supports skin hydration and elasticity at a cellular level. Sea buckthorn also contains roughly 15 times more vitamin C than an orange. 15 times. Now, can you find fresh sea buckthorn at your local grocery store? Probably not. But you can find sea buckthorn juice concentrate or powder at health food stores and online, and a little goes a long way. You're not looking at a massive expense here. A bottle of concentrate will run you somewhere between $15 and $30 in last few weeks. I also want to mention her immune boosting shot because I think it's brilliant in its simplicity. Ginger, garlic, raw honey, and apple cider vinegar. That's it. Ginger is a powerful anti-inflammatory and has been shown to help with nausea, digestion, and joint pain. Garlic is antiviral and antibacterial. Raw honey has antimicrobial properties and soothes inflamed tissue. Apple cider vinegar supports digestion and may help with blood sugar regulation. You can make a batch of this at home for a few dollars. I've recommended something very similar to patients for years, long before it was trendy. Okay, let's talk about exercise. Because I know when women hear exercise, they sometimes brace themselves for guilt about not doing enough or not doing the right kind. I want to take that off the table right now. Salma has been very honest that she does not love exercise. She said it plainly. I don't like to exercise. And I appreciate that honesty because I think the wellness industry does women a real disservice by only showcasing people who are passionate about working out. Most people aren't. Most people do it because they know they should, or because they found something that doesn't feel like punishment. For Salma, the thing that changed everything was a trainer in London who taught her to think about movement completely differently. Instead of going to the gym and grinding through a workout, this woman taught her how to engage her muscles in everyday activities, brushing her teeth, standing in line, carrying groceries. The idea is to be present with your body all day long, rather than treating exercise as a separate event that happens for an hour 3 times a week. I love this approach. I have preached this to my patients for years. The research on non-exercise activity thermogenesis, basically all the movement you do that isn't formal exercise, shows that it can have a dramatic impact on metabolic health, posture, muscle tone, and even longevity. Walking to your mailbox, taking the stairs, standing while you're on the phone, it adds up. The key is relaxed engagement. You're not clenching, you're not tensing, you're gently activating the right muscles with awareness. When you brush your teeth, you can be engaging your core. When you're standing at the kitchen counter, you can be working your glutes. It sounds small, but done consistently over months and years, the effect is real. Posture is something I feel very strongly about and don't think gets nearly enough attention. As women age, there's a natural tendency to round forward. The shoulders come in, the chin juts out, the chest collapses. It's a combination of muscle weakness, habit, and sometimes just years of sitting at desks or looking down at phones, and it ages you dramatically. Not just in how you look, but in how you feel. Poor posture compresses the organs, restricts breathing, contributes to back and neck pain, and yes, affects how others perceive your age and vitality. The correction is simple, even if it takes practice. Elongate your neck, stack your ears over your shoulders, let your chest open slightly. Feel the crown of your head reaching toward the ceiling. When you sit, try to maintain the natural curve of your lower back rather than collapsing into a C shape. Pilates is excellent for building the deep core muscles that make good posture automatic. And if formal Pilates classes are outside your budget, there are outstanding free resources on YouTube. I recommend them to patients regularly. A German study I find compelling found that the apparent age of a woman was significantly influenced by the appearance of the skin on her chest, hands, and arms, not just her face. This means that how you carry yourself and how you maintain your overall body health matters enormously for how old you appear to others. I also want to mention the connection between exercise and something called telomeres, because this one genuinely fascinates me. Telomeres are the protective caps at the ends of your chromosomes. Think of them like the plastic tips on shoelaces. As your cells divide over time, telomeres shorten, and this shortening is one of the primary mechanisms of biological aging. Studies have found that regular exercise slows the rate of telomere shortening. People who exercise consistently are, at a cellular level, younger than their sedentary peers of the same chronological age. That is remarkable to me, even after 30 years of seeing the evidence. You don't have to train like an athlete to get this benefit. Walking counts, dancing counts. Salma dances, which she loves, and walks her dogs every day. Find the movement that feels like something you'd actually do and do it consistently. Consistency beats intensity every single time in my experience. Now I want to spend some time on massage and body work because I think this is an area where people assume you need to spend a lot of money to see results, and that's simply not true. Salma swears by regular massage for keeping her muscles healthy, maintaining circulation, and supporting lymphatic drainage. She's absolutely right that these things matter. But the good news is that you don't need to book a $200 session at a spa to get meaningful benefits. The first technique I want to walk you through is gua sha. If you've been on any wellness corner of the internet in the last few years, you've probably seen this. It's actually an ancient traditional Chinese medicine technique that involves scraping the skin with a smooth-edged tool to increase blood flow and stimulate circulation in the soft tissue. There was a study published in the journal Explore that found a single gua sha treatment increased microcirculation by 4 times the usual amount for nearly 8 minutes following treatment. Participants also reported immediate pain relief, not just at the treatment site, but in areas that weren't even treated. Here's the practical part. You don't need to buy an expensive jade roller or rose quartz tool. A smooth, rounded spoon works. The cap from a vitamin bottle works. You apply a little facial oil or lotion, and you use moderate pressure to scrape along the muscle, avoiding bones and joints. For the face, work outward and upward, across the jaw, up the cheekbone, across the forehead. For the neck, work downward toward the lymph nodes. 5 to 10 minutes, a few times a week. I have patients who have incorporated this into their nightly routine and report real differences in the puffiness and dullness they used to deal with every morning. The second technique is self-massage, and this one is as straightforward as it sounds. Your fingers, your knuckles, your palms. That's all you need. Massage therapist Rosalind Basket has written about how self-massage is an effective and underutilized tool for reducing muscular tension, improving circulation, and promoting the kind of parasympathetic nervous system activation that reduces cortisol. And cortisol people, chronic elevated cortisol is one of the most aging things I know of. It breaks down collagen, disrupts sleep, increases inflammation, throws off your hormones. Anything you can do to reduce it on a daily basis is anti-aging medicine. A foam roller is also something I recommend regularly. You can get a basic one for $15 to $20, and using it on your back, your legs, and your hips for 10 minutes before bed is an extraordinarily effective way to release accumulated tension, improve circulation, and help your body actually recover from the day. I want to come back to something before I wrap up, because I think it's important. The most liked comment on a video about Salma Hayek's anti-aging routine was simply, "It's called money too." And I understand that comment completely. I do. Because there is a certain kind of wellness content that presents celebrity habits as if they're universally accessible, and that's not honest, and it's not fair to you. Salma Hayek has access to things that change the game entirely. A team of professionals managing every aspect of her health and appearance, zero financial stress, the ability to sleep 8 hours every night without worrying about the mortgage, private clinic treatments in Switzerland, the best cosmetic dermatologists in the world. These things matter. I'm not going to insult your intelligence by pretending they don't. But here's what I know after 30 years of seeing patients from every background imaginable. The fundamentals work for everyone. Reducing inflammation through food works, whether you're a billionaire or you're stretching a grocery budget. Protecting your skin from sun exposure costs nothing. Drinking enough water costs nothing. Getting enough sleep, which is honestly the single most powerful anti-aging intervention I know of, costs nothing. Managing stress through movement, breathing, and connection costs nothing. Engaging your muscles mindfully throughout your day costs nothing. The gap between what Salma can do and what you can do is real. I won't pretend otherwise. But the gap is smaller than you might think when it comes to the habits that actually move the needle on aging. The basics, and I've been saying this for 30 years, the basics really do work. What I want for all of you is to take what's genuinely useful here, leave the parts that require a private jet, and build something consistent and sustainable for yourself. Small things done every day will always outperform expensive interventions done occasionally. I've watched this play out in thousands of patients over my career. Start with the juice in the morning. Oranges, turmeric, something green if you have it. Eat more plants, fewer processed foods, less sugar. Make chicken soup on Sundays and eat it all week. Walk after dinner, stand up straight. Spend 10 minutes with a spoon and some oil on your face at night. Go to sleep earlier than you think you need to. These are not glamorous recommendations. They don't make for a very exciting thumbnail, but they work, and that, after everything else, is the only thing that matters to me. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you in the next one.